Hi everybody, thank you for joining us at the Blee family's house. Once in a while, us as priests get invited out for dinner, and they invited us out to dinner. We had a great meal. There's Father Paul Voisin, and he's joining us as well. So we're all just kind of sitting down and we're talking about family life. And in my humble opinion, the Blee family, they just are doing something right because they live family life, I think, really well. They're just happy, they're very real, and they overcome a lot of challenges, I think, in life with grace and with joy and with a sense of humor about themselves. And so I want to get a few insights, into what's happening in this family, maybe that, maybe other families out there could learn a little bit from or just share in, their insights and say, yeah, us too. Anyway, so I'd like to introduce you to them. This is Juanita and Jeff and their daughters, Heather. Oh, sorry, we'll go this way. Heather and Hannah. Thank you. Okay, so I'd just like to start by asking you guys the question. I mean, what's the secret to being so happy, as a family? Is it just the fact that you live in Bermuda and it's like sunny here all the time and you're getting out maybe, or what? Yeah.
Go ahead, honey. You start.
I start, okay. Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. I think, when Jeffrey and I started seeing each other and going out, going through marriage course, etc., we realized that we not only had to be a couple or a family within ourselves, but be individuals and not lose ourselves in the relationship. So being an individual allows you to bring something different to the plate a lot of the time, so it doesn't really get boring, I think. Mm-hmm. And that way you can share yourself as an individual with your partner, with your kids, and with your family, and just really, it doesn't get stale that way, I think, because it's always changing. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
No, I agree. We were very different individuals when we first met. I, the much more outgoing type, and
Yes.
Juanita a bit more reserved.
Yes, believe it or not.
And over the years, it's been interesting, and given my professional development in the insurance world and a lot of entertaining with clients, I mean, I as I got older, I find myself, not want to do that as much, but the yin and the yang, if you will, it's worked out really well because we joke around a lot. We've been married for 20 years. Been together for 7 or 8 because I spent a lot of time with clients and travel and Rita through volleyball, and she's busy with boards and various activities. So we do a lot of together things, but we also have our own time as well, which I think is healthy. And then you appreciate each other much more, and you actually do get together. And obviously for us, it's worked really well because we've got a good cadre of friends. Both personal and professional, and we obviously live through our faith, and we enjoy going to church and sitting in the front row every Sunday.
Every Sunday. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we've done that since the kids were young, just to keep them interested, and it's obviously worked because they're always well behaved in church. And I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that true? You guys well behaved in church?
Yeah.
Do you like going to St. Patrick's? Do you like the parish there?
Yeah, I especially like the sermons because connecting stories with the readings, and it just tends to make more sense that way as opposed to just describing what happened in the readings. And after a while can get kind of boring.
Yeah. How about you, Hannah? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I like that some of my, the people I know go to St. Patrick, so afterwards nice to see them, if you don't see them every once in a while. Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool.
And I think just further with Heather, our oldest, she's actually the last 2 years has been a assistant at CCD on Saturday mornings. So she does from September through June every year, and she actually really enjoys it. She's got 1 more year before she heads off to university, so she'll continue to do that. So.
Oh wow! So you're teaching some. How old are they?
They're 7 and 8.
7 and 8
the
years?
first communion class.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you enjoy most about teaching them?
Most about teaching them, probably seeing them when they actually get a concept that relates to church. They're like, you see them, they didn't really realize what it was at first when they get confused. And then you see them and they're like, oh my gosh, I actually get it now. Like when the priest says this, I know what it means. And it's really exciting to see them actually get something for Mass.
Cool. How do you think teaching the faith has changed your own understanding of what the faith means to you?
It's helped me. I've learned a lot more going through teaching CCD as well, like going through the tour of the church, it's nice to see like what some of the things are called, and some of them have really long, complicated names, but but it's interesting to see what they're called, because going to MSA we didn't get.
There's Sadie, their dog. You get noticed. Yeah.
We didn't get a tour of the church going at MSA for our first communion, so it was interesting to go get a tour of the church and to get all that.
Awesome. Now, back to living the vocation of married life. Now, just wondering, you said 20 years of married life together?
It was 20 years last month, yeah.
Yes.
Well, first of all, congratulations on that. A lot of couples don't get to that milestone, and along the way, I imagine there's been lots of challenges and so forth. Now, how do you keep your sense of humor? You mentioned time away as being a healthy part of that. In the busyness of life, some couples say, well, it's just overwhelming and we have no time for each other and so forth. I mean, how do you make time for each other? Or, like, what are the secrets, in terms of staying together and working through the difficult times?
Well, I mean, I really think, again, going back to the whole idea of being an individual, if you pour 100% of your life just into your kids and you leave nothing for yourself, and whether that be just, I'm a mom, I'm going to have an hour where I'm just going to read a book, or I'm going to go and have a coffee with a friend, or whatever it is. I mean, if you don't make that time for yourself and you give totally to either your children or your husband, I think you're doing yourself a disservice, and I don't think you're living a full life. So I've always said, I need to always make sure I have time for me. Because then I rejuvenate, and then I can go back and be the person I need to be with them. And I want my children to understand, as women, when they're women, that they need to do the same. They need to make sure that they, you can have a full life and you can have a family, you can have all that and still be yourself and not give up. You shouldn't have to, when you get into married life, you shouldn't give up yourself for anybody or expect people to change during married life. I think it's one of the first things that when we went through our marriage courses, we talked, it was, and I'll always remember this with Father Jerry, was how do you do your toothpaste? And Jeffrey always starts his toothpaste from the bottom and works his way up, and I always used to squeeze from the middle. And we had a long discussion about this because it really irritated him that I squeezed the toothpaste from the middle. So I had to learn that irritated him, and perhaps I could do it a little differently so that he didn't get irritated. But that, if every once in a while I squeezed it in the middle, well, then so be it, I squeezed it in the middle. But I can adjust my way of thinking without losing myself, because at the end of the day, it's just a tube of toothpaste.
Wow.
So.
Okay. Anything to add to that, Jeff?
I think she said it all.
Do you remember that?
I learned to fear from the early stages, from that marriage course, if heaven forbid that you squeeze the toothpaste the wrong way. No, I just go back to, we're individuals, and we've learned to respect each other's differences. As we just said, we had a lot of challenges in our life, professional, personal, a lot of personal challenges. And through our faith, we got through that, and we asked the questions why at times, and it's obviously for a reason. And it just made us stronger. And it's when we see this one sitting here today.
We're lucky to have her.
I'm gonna get emotional right now, but yeah, I mean it's really it's testament to the fact, and that's what's made us strong. Both of our families are here, and so we've got a very, very strong close-knit family on both sides. And we've been the beneficiaries of grandparents being able to spend a lot of time with their grandkids, and vice versa, which also is very, very important.
Nice.
And I think, like Jeffrey talked about our personal issues that we've had over time. And we said before, without our faith, we would have never gotten through. I don't know how I would have gotten through without my faith. But what I know is, and what I tell myself constantly, and I think it wasn't Father Jerry who helped me through it. It might have even been Father Kerwin who helped me through it. And it's just simply that it's not our plan at the end of the day. We can only live what's put in front of us, and if something goes wrong, well, there's a reason for it, and it's not for us to know why, but just we have to move on from that and do something else. And that's how I try and live my life. that it's not my plan, it's God's plan, and if something happens that I don't necessarily agree with or cannot understand why it's happened, that sometimes I just got to hold up my hands and say, okay, let's move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I just have one other question for Hannah and Heather. Just curious, guys, what do you love most about your parents being together and how they interact?
I'd have to say some of the discussions we have can be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes going on vacations, we tend to take road trips. My mom likes to take road trips. So we have a lot of discussions in the car because there's no TV in the car. All you have is the radio and each other. Mm-hmm. So I think that's helped us to learn how to get along even better. Yeah. What about you, Hannah?
Well, how my parents are funny, it like makes like the house more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, because some of the rules they have are like I understand why we have them, and so yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You guys are funny. Father Paul, what would you say it's like having the Blees in the parish?
Well, they're definitely a very active family and very visible, as they said. They sit right in the front. Mm-hmm. And for a while, they were 4 generations mm-hmm. in the same pew. Mm-hmm. And you don't often see that. So right away, you know, there's that sharing of faith that is not just an hour on a Sunday. It's a way of living. Mm-hmm. And as Heather already shared, you know, she's been very active. And both Jeff and Juanita, you know, between the parish and Mount St. Agnes Academy, you know, they're always the first in line to volunteer for some of the things that maybe not be the most attractive to do, but people know they have to be done and they're contributing to the greater good. And so that faith is definitely a lived faith and a celebrated faith in good times and in bad. Mm-hmm. And it's a great opportunity to get to know families mm-hmm. Over time and to see that source of strength that they have that unfortunately not every family has, mm-hmm. personally or as a family unit or as an extended family. Mm-hmm. So they've been very blessed, and they are a blessing for the people that come into contact with them.
Yeah, and it's a blessing, I think, to minister to and with families like the Blees and others that are part of the parish. So again, thank you for doing the interview, guys, and wish you God's blessings as you continue to live out this amazing vocation of family life.
Thank you.
Thank you.